This is WEJF 90.3 FM, Palm Bay. Good afternoon. It's 12 noon on this Wednesday, and Helping Seniors of Brevard gets underway in just a moment. First, let me talk to you about something very special that's coming up for Helping Seniors of Brevard and our listeners right now. We'd like to invite you to take part in one of our favorite traditions. It's the 10th annual Helping Seniors Choose Your Adventure car raffle. Well, this year, one lucky winner will choose from seven brand new 2026 vehicles. And whether you love a sporty convertible, a rugged pickup, a family SUV, or a stylish sedan, there's something for everyone. The grand drawing will be held coming up on Sunday, October the 25th, during our special Sunday at the Museum, and that's the celebration at the American Muscle Car Museum in Melbourne. The best part, you don't have to be present to win, but every raffle ticket also serves as your admission to this fun-filled afternoon at one of the nation's most remarkable private automobile collections, normally not open to the public. Most importantly, every ticket purchased helps helping seniors continue to provide free information, education, advocacy, and our senior information helpline for seniors and their families throughout the Space Coast in Brevard County. Tickets are just $25 each or 5 for 100, and to purchase your tickets, you can call 321-473-7770. Again, that's 321-473-7770, or visit helpingseniorscarraffle.com. Thanks for supporting Helping Seniors of Brevard, and as our founder Joe Steckler always reminded us, keep it going. Seniors need our help. Well, good luck, and we hope to see you on October the 25th as a Sunday, and better yet, behind the wheel of your brand new car. So we appreciate that very much. Looking forward to that big event coming up in October on the 25th.
Join Helping Seniors of Brevard on Wednesday, July 15th at 10 a.m. for Java with Joe, Coffee with a Cop at the Senior Resource Center, 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. Meet Joe Downs from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office for coffee, conversation, and practical tips to help seniors stay safe and informed. Enjoy complimentary coffee and Dunkin' Donuts while connecting with friends and neighbors. Special thanks to Rhodes Law, PA, whose generous support makes Java with Joe possible. Visit helpingseniorsofbrevard.org.
Always great to hear that music on a Wednesday afternoon. That means Helping Seniors of Brevard is ready to go on the air. Let me introduce to you right now, I like to call him our BOGO, our daily double. We get two for the price of one. We get the executive director of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the host of our show. Here's none other than Kerry Fink. Hi, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper. It's always great to be here gathering around the radio at lunchtime on Wednesdays right here on 90.3 FM WEJF. And for those of you who join us online, wherever you may be, that's WEJF.net. And also hello to the growing number who always catch this as a podcast, because every time we complete one of our weekly radio shows at lunchtime, we always make sure we get them out in the podcast world, because wherever you get a podcast, doesn't matter if it's Apple iTunes, it could be, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you're finding podcasts, good pods, you name it, you'll find Helping Seniors Radio there. In fact, a lot of people just find us on our YouTube channel, which is Helping Seniors Brevard, and the same with our Facebook page, Helping Seniors Brevard. But what we find is a lot of people love to go there. They'll pick up a show because maybe they got to hear some snippet of the show, couldn't listen to the whole thing because maybe they were busy running errands, so they'll get home and be able to catch the whole show. Or oftentimes what we'll talk about has real meaning for somebody that they know or interact with, and then they're going to want to share, hey, listen, you should have heard the radio show. here's the link. I'm going to send it to you and you can hear what we're going to talk about today. And today we have a couple of really neat things that we're going to incorporate into the show. I'm going to start by introducing a great friend of the Helping Seniors organization, great friend of ours. Her name is Laura McCarthy. She's the executive director for an organization called Brevard Recovery Fest, which now we were talking just before we got on the air here. Has been doing Brevard Recovery Fest now in the 5th year. She's the executive director, has really built it up to become a very, very important resource in our community. And it's really a free, fun, family friendly kind of event, an inspirational day filled with hope and purpose. And it's a great free day for family and everything to enjoy and to literally learn about a lot of the resources we have in the community that help us with everything related to recovery. So with that, Laura McCarthy, how are you today?
Hey, Kerry, I'm doing great. I'm going to take a personal moment to say happy anniversary, honey. Today is our 37th year anniversary, July 29, 1989. We were married, and all these years later, we're still married and we still like each other,
Right.
which is a
That's a
beautiful thing.
that's a great thing. That's a
Yeah,
great thing.
we're really excited, Carrie, about this year's fest. The Brevard Recovery Fest. You can find information out at brevardrecoveryfest.org, and that's fest as in festival. It was launched because Ocala has had a recovery fest for a number of years, and their Marion County Heroin Task Force came over to the Brevard Opioid Misuse Task Force in 2020, let's see, it's 2021, I guess. And they said, hey, what's wrong with you people in Brevard? Why don't you have a recovery fest? SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse Mental Health Administration, had put out a request to communities to do these recovery supportive events back in 1985. And here it was 2021. We're a little bit behind behind the times, but we finally got it launched. Our first event was in the fall of 2022, and now we're having our 5th event on September 12th, 2026 at the Melbourne Auditorium from 10 to 2. We have thousands of dollars of giveaways this year, Kerry. We're very excited about that. Community has really rallied around this event. And of course, our mission is to end the stigma of addictions and mental health and provide a platform for various treatment and recovery providers to showcase their services. In fact, I was speaking to somebody today earlier, and they said they went last year and they had no idea this many services were actually available to people in Brevard County. And so it's a huge educational resource event. Of course, we have many dignitaries coming from various organizations, including University Behavioral Center, Palm Point Behavioral Health, and Central Florida Behavioral Hospital, as well as Healthcare Unity Group and Circles of Care, Parish Medical Center, Health First, many medical, Brevard Health Alliance. Of course, Seniors Helping Seniors will be there as well. ARP, AARP. That's interesting. We learned about ARP from one of your radio programs, right? I didn't know they had mental health services, and they have all sorts of products available for mental health for the senior citizens with AARP, which I thought was fascinating. And of course, today we have Raaha from West Shore High School, which I'm very excited about. Her organization helping seniors as well. Our event is a family-friendly event. Unfortunately, this year, what is a little different than previous years, we've typically had free food at this event. Unfortunately, we don't have free food, but we do have gift cards to our community partners, $10 gift cards that we will be giving out at the event. We'll have over $9,000 in gift cards to hand out for McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and Jersey Mike's, which are local food providers right around the corner, actually, from the Melbourne Auditorium. So in lieu of free food at the event, I do know that the concessionaire at the Melbourne Auditorium will be open. It just won't be free this year. And but hopefully you'll be accommodated with the gift cards, which will be really great. I was talking to Raaha earlier about her students. At West Shore, we love to have any high school students interested in volunteering at the event because we offer Bright Futures volunteer hours, so they can earn up to 5 hours if they support the entire event and they volunteer either with like the inflatables or the face painting zone, or we've got a kids craft corner this year, which is new. We've got Wings of Grace coming back with their flight simulators. I'm very excited about that. I just got off the phone with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and plus we'll have 10 different mobile units representing a variety of mobile services, including Matthew's Hope, Daily Bread, again, Hug, Healthcare Unity Group, Unconditional Love Inc., Project Response, Circles of Care, Steps, and the Brevard County Sheriff's Department as well. I hope I didn't leave anybody out, but we've got a lot going on with the fest this year at the Melbourne Auditorium on September 12th. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Free family fun day. Come on out and see everybody, meet everybody. And like I said, if you need some Bright Futures hours or community service hours, you can go to brevardrecoveryfest.org and register as a volunteer on the website. It'd be awesome to see all of you there. We hope to continue to end the stigma and provide resources for the community to find the help and the support that they need.
Laura, as you were talking about this, I was thinking back. You and I have been ministry friends for a bunch of years, and I remember when we were first talking about this, as you were getting the whole Brevard Recovery Fest, and I was asking you questions because I don't know. I kind of consider myself pretty average in a lot of times. Like I think how does our normal public go? And I was really thinking, and I remember asking you what I think is probably kind of an ignorant question, but I said, do our seniors need a recovery fest? And then you started to help me understand that it's not just almost everybody in their family, everybody knows somebody in their family. It could be a close friend. We all know somebody who's touched by this challenge, which is why this whole thing that you're building is so important.
And what's really tragic in our senior population is that a lot of times they get isolated, they get bored, and isolation and boredom can create great pain for our senior citizens. And they could turn to um, things like alcohol, painkillers. It's very painful to be isolated, alone, and bored in retirement. So we see elderly onset addiction happening often. We also know, I think I mentioned to you, that one of the highest rates of HIV/AIDS is actually in one of our communities, right over, I'm not going to name the community, I don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's in our state, and it's a 55 and older community. Why? Because, people do high risk behavior when they're drinking and using drugs. So it's a problem for everyone. We have one of the organizations coming again this year is Adult Children of Alcoholics. So children are impacted by the disease of addiction and mental health. Really, there's no disease on the planet actually that impacts a family like addiction does. It impacts all those that surround the person struggling with mental health or addiction. And so it is really important that the whole family finds support, not just the person struggling with mental health or addiction. And so another one of our community providers, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, is another big supporter of the fest. And we have a lot of mental health as well as substance use disorder providers as well for treatment and recovery. We have family groups like Al-Anon and Nar-Anon family groups. So there's for family members that are struggling, as well as the 12-step organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, ACOA, Adult Children of Dysfunctional Homes, Sex Addictions Anonymous are just a few organizations. Then we have our faith-based communities as well that offer Celebrate Recovery. We have Recovery Church coming, Recovery Church Movement, as well as Recovery Church Space Coast Palm Bay, Recovery Church Vero Beach. So we have, and then our CETA mission for our missions for men and women, Helen's House. So we've got a lot of representation from the community to offer support and help for anyone that might be struggling.
That's one of the things that's so fascinating about what you do, because I remember when we said, okay, we'd love to be out there the first time. And I was really like kind of unsure if we actually fit there. And you're like, no, Kerry, trust me, this is really a great family event. And when we got out there, and I think your origins were starting out at like Wickham Park. So it was an outdoor event, and we were kind of contingent on how the weather was going to treat us that day and things like that. But it was such an uplifting and fun day. And I realized at that point how many resources are available, because like I said, maybe this isn't something that you're having to deal with for right now at this minute. But I always feel like it makes good sense for us to be aware of the resources before we have to run into something that sooner or later could run into. Or maybe it's not you, maybe it's somebody distant relative in your family. It could be somebody very close in your family. It could be a person that is a neighbor or something. Everybody is touched by addiction and things like this. And so when you get there, it's a joyful event. I don't know how to describe it anyway. Everybody just has a great time, and you walk away, you feel very empowered, very much more knowledgeable than you arrived at. Plus, you just had a great time because, like you mentioned, there's so many great simulators, so many things like Wings of Grace when he brings out his flight simulators and things like that is great fun for the kids and for the teens. And it just is such a great family afternoon out. And probably, Laura, uh, one of the neatest things is that it proves that you can't, if you know somebody that's in the middle of that, that there is light at the other side. And one of the things that's not lost on me, Laura, is your own personal story of where you started. And I always go, you don't worry about where people start. You do worry about where they finished. And this has really been a personal mission of yours as well.
Yes, it has. I laugh because I get with Sheriff Ivy and I constantly remind him, criminal to community leaders, Sheriff Ivy. It does happen. Okay, let's stop criminalizing our addicts and help get them treatment and recovery because we do get well. This is a treatable illness now. We know that. No one has to die of addiction today. Unfortunately, it's our fentanyl epidemic that started really our opioid task force and our coalitions really stepping up our game because we had so many deaths. In fact, in the beginning of our task force back in 2018, 2019, Brevard County was #1 per capita in the state of Florida for fentanyl poisonings. And now we are changing the language from overdose to poisonings because these people aren't using to get, they're using to get high. They're not using to die. Okay. And so the really tragic thing is this is not an overdose. It's literally a poisoning by these chemicals that have infiltrated the United States across, and it's really global around the world. And so we're very proud of our Narcan distribution efforts in our county because of Narcan distribution and the awareness campaign that we've had with our fentanyl awareness campaign effort, we have been reduced. The last time I heard was #5 in the state per capita for fentanyl poisonings. I think awareness is really getting out. The Narcan distribution is happening. We are very encouraged that our police officers are carrying Narcan to help save a life. And, I've had people say, well, isn't that enabling the addict to just go and do it again? Well, let's put it this way. I'd rather save a life because you never know when that moment of clarity is going to happen. For me, it happened on May 3rd, 1985. I was a habitual offender in the state of Colorado. I'd been arrested multiple times for DUIs. My father had actually committed vehicular homicide at the age of 21. You would have thought I learned from his experience, but nope. The disease is so powerful. I was telling myself I'm different. I'll never be as bad as, I'll never be like my dad. And that kind of insanity, we call it insanity because it's a complete inability to see the truth about what's happening, led me into facing a year in the state penitentiary of Colorado as a habitual offender, as a drunk driver. And, I remember that moment of clarity on May 3rd, 1985, when I came to out of a rip-roaring drunk and I just knew, oh my gosh, I have that disease. I need help. I need God. I need those people. I need support. I need a 12-step group. And that was a shift in my thinking or feeling. I can tell you that at 4:15 that morning when I passed out with a fifth of black velvet sitting in front of me, I had no thought of needing any help from anybody. And to come to a couple of hours later with that kind of clarity, Well, in recovery rooms, we would call that a vital spiritual experience. There was a shift in my personality that was sufficient enough to bring about recovery. And I haven't found it necessary to pick up a mood altering chemical since that day on May 3rd, 1985. I'm just a little bit over 41 years of continuous recovery, and I continue to build recovery. We don't look at recovery as being an event. It's a journey of healing. We are healing our bodies and our brain and our lives, because really, I mean, addiction just, it costs you everything. I mean, it costs me my family, my health, my finances, my homes. It costs me everything. And of course, recovery, the beautiful thing about healing and recovery is that you can have it all restored. There's more about my story in my book, Mess to Majestic, which is on Amazon, Audible, or Kindle. You can find it today. That's MESS to Majestic. Laura McCarthy is the author, and I have narrated it on Audible as well if you're interested in more of the personal story. But what we want people to know is recovery is possible, and we recover together. No one ever really recovers in isolation or alone, because this is a disease that wants to isolate you, wants to lie to you, and wants to kill you. And so when we can break the isolation with communities like the Brevard Recovery Fest, where people can see, wow, there are people actually getting help and staying clean and sober and dealing with their mental health issues and healing their depression and healing anxiety. It's so powerful to see community come together and do that. It was funny. One of my EMS workers, the very first year, he said, "Oh my gosh, I saw clients that I had delivered to the emergency room in an overdosed, poisoned state." And he looked at me and he said, "You people really do recover." I'm like, "Yes." And they looked happy. They were clear-eyed and happy. I said, "Yes, we really do recover. It is possible." Um, not easy, but it's possible. And we're here to support anyone who is looking for any kind of help in that area to get the help that they need.
Yeah, you have been such a force in the community for good on this whole topic, because even earlier this year, you had organized a very big event that was going on there at the Melbourne Auditorium. That was kind of like I would almost call it, for those of us who are in service. You were bringing everybody together. You did like a mental health symposium, and you were really trying to make sure that the speakers that you put on the stage and the exhibits there were perfect for supporting like an organization like ours. Because I remember having the conversation with you. I said, I didn't really think about it, but we always joke a little bit about, there's a lot of misconceptions about seniors. People say, well, all seniors are poor, or all seniors are whatever. And like, no, just like you have people who are younger and may not have as many funds to work with, you have that in the senior world.
Yeah.
Just like you have people who are fine financially in the younger world. You have seniors who are fine. You just, it's almost like this thing I've heard them say it about Alzheimer's. You meet one person with Alzheimer's, you met one person with Alzheimer's, but everybody's story is a little bit different. And the thing that you did was you equipped agencies like ours, that when we take those phone calls, because as you know, we operate the county senior information helpline. We took over 4,500 calls last year from seniors and their families, and it's about everything: housing, legal, medical, financial, transportation. But sadly, we've had some calls for mental health, and we've had calls from people that really would benefit from addiction recovery. And I know you and I talked about this, I chalk a lot of that up to self-medicating to try to get out of pain.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you for bringing up the mental health event. So it's kind of funny. We have this mission statement, right, to end the stigma of addictions and mental health. And we had that clarity last year, like, wow, what are we doing for our mental health community? And so National Mental Health Month is in May. National Recovery Month is in September. So we thought, why don't we add a primary mental health event? So at that event, we have 40 sponsors that come and vendor that are primary mental health providers in the community. And then we do free CEUs for people in the community. In fact, our committee just voted to make that 4 free CEUs for next year, May 11th. And so we get our professional community on board, we get presenters. It's a true educational event. It was really awesome. In fact, Dr. Kelly Dunn, the psychiatrist that works with our elders, she only sees 65 and older in our community, did a fantastic job of seniors and mental health last year, this last May. It was fantastic. So that'll be May 11th at the Azan Shriner Center on O'Galley Boulevard. And that'll be an all-day event, typically from 9 till about 3, to cover mental health. And we'll have speakers and information will be going out on that as well. I'm sure we'll do another radio show on that maybe next time, Kerry. That'd be good. We'll get Melissa Brandt, our new executive director, is taking over in 2027 to step up to the radio and have a good conversation about it. But mental health is a huge issue these days. And again, people are always wondering, who do I call? Where do I go? And there are many what we call outreach or business development experts. That's what they do, is placement. So you get one of those experts in your back pocket and you can call them 24/7 and get direction to mental health services, depending on the type of insurance or non-insurance that you have. Just placed a Medicaid client down in South Florida, and they actually transported that person to and from their facility, which was amazing. And she went in pretty despairing and came out happy as could be. Had quite a transformative experience. So, we know treatment and recovery is possible for mental health as well as addiction. So please don't suffer alone. Please reach out and ask for help. And of course, our not only your number, Kerry, but 211 Brevard is another great resource. Just dial 211 from any phone in our county and you will get access to resources as well. It's another one of our community partners that will be at the fest. So, yep.
Yeah, it's so important. We often use the term, Laura, that it takes a village. They say that a lot of times if you're going to raise kids, they say it takes a village, but we really have adopted that in the helping seniors world for the very same reason. All of us know a little bit, or we're all experts in a certain lane. But as you move through the journey of being a senior, you run into these things and you may be the smartest tool in the shed, but the problem is this is a new lane and you got to learn these things. And I think one of the things that was so helpful for us when we were part of that symposium we did earlier this year was it was really equipping us to be able to handle the calls that we get and to know, to put it for lack of a better way to put it, to know sometimes what we're up against, and so that we can try to apply the correct solution. And I was thinking, like, just even in the example you're talking about, like 211 will refer to us because they say, okay, these are the guys who try to think everything senior as much as they can, and we appreciate that. And then there are things that we're going to send people to 211 because it's like all of us working together to make this a good place for our seniors. But to kind of put a bow on this, I just really want to make sure everybody gets on their calendar Saturday, September 12th, Melbourne Auditorium, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Absolutely free. It's Brevard Recovery Fest. We're going to take a mid-show break here in just a moment. But Laura, just like a final word to let's invite everybody in the community. It's so much fun. I want to encourage everybody to be there.
Yeah, we really do want to encourage the community to come out. Like I said, not only do we have the giveaways of gift cards, but we also have giveaways from various organizations like Sam's Clubs, Costco, Panera Bread, all sorts of baskets and giveaways for the community. Lots of free stuff, the inflatables for the kids, lots of games and face painting and craft area for the kids, really trying to build up the kids area as well. And then we're hoping to reach 100 vendors for this event to hand out information and donors that are donating to us. And if you're interested in donating something, please again go to brevardrecoveryfest.org. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page and there's a contact now page where you can send your information if you want to donate a basket or you want to donate some gift cards. Whatever we want to do, we want to give the community a lot of support and just bless them with free stuff. Lots of free stuff. So pass the word, September 12th, come on out. And then, like I said, my people that need young people like Raaha and West Shore, I'm really excited about hearing about what she's offering. Be sure to get them to volunteer because we can give you those bright future hours. Okay. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody at the fest on September 12th.
Laura McCarthy, Executive Director, Brevard Recovery Fest. So brevardrecoveryfest.org, September 12th at the Melbourne Auditorium, free event, 10 to 12. We're so looking. You'll find helping seniors there. You'll find our friends from AARP there. And Laura, stick around because we're going to take our mid-show break, but then we're going to come back and introduce our good friend. Her name is Raaha Sellamuth, and she is going to be talking about Mindcare Medics. And this is another area that I'm so excited that Helping Seniors is getting into. But we will be back with the second half of the show in just a few moments.
And as Kerry Fink just mentioned, we'll get back to more of Helping Seniors of Brevard on this Wednesday, coming up in just a moment. Hello again, everyone. I'm John Harper, and I'd like to invite you to one of our favorite traditions, and it's already become the 10th annual Helping Seniors Choose Your Adventure car raffle. It's a great one, and this year, one lucky winner will choose from 7 brand new 2026 vehicles. Now, whether you love a sporty convertible, a rugged pickup truck, a family SUV, or a stylish sedan, there is something for everyone. The grand drawing will be held on Sunday, October the 25th, during our special Sunday at the Museum celebration at the American Muscle Car Museum. And the best part is you don't have to be present to win, but every raffle ticket serves as your admission to this fun-filled afternoon at one of the nation's most remarkable, incredible private automobile collections in the United States, or in the world for that matter. Normally, it's not open to the public. Most importantly, every ticket purchased helps Helping Seniors of Brevard continue to provide information, education, advocacy, and our senior information helpline for seniors and their families throughout Brevard County. Tickets are just $25 each, or 5 for $100. And to purchase your ticket, you simply can call 321 473 7770. That's 321 473 7770, or visit helpingseniorscarraffle.com. Again, that is helpingseniorscarraffle.com. Thanks for supporting Helping Seniors of Brevard. And as our founder, Joe Steckler, always said, keep it going. Seniors need us. Good luck, and we hope to see you on Sunday, October the 25th, or better yet, see you behind the wheel of a brand new car.
Join Helping Seniors of Brevard on Wednesday, July 15th at 10 a.m. for Java with Joe, Coffee with a Cop at the Senior Resource Center, 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. Meet Joe Downs from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office for coffee, conversation, and practical tips to help seniors stay safe and informed. Enjoy complimentary coffee and Dunkin' Donuts while connecting with friends and neighbors. Special thanks to Rhodes Law, PA, whose generous support makes Java with Joe possible. Visit helpingseniorsofbrevard.org.
And that music reminds us that it's time to get back for the second part of our program for this Wednesday afternoon, Helping Seniors of Brevard. And once again, here is the Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the host of our show, Kerry Fink. Kerry?
Hey, John Harper, thanks. Always good to be here. Lunchtime hour right here on 90.3 FM WEJF. And thanks if you're listening along online at WEJF.net, or even if you're catching this later as a podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. We've been having a great conversation with Laura McCarthy, who's the Executive Director of the Brevard Recovery Fest, which is a wonderful event that we were talking about making sure you get on your calendar for Saturday, September 12th at the Melbourne Auditorium, right there, 625 East Hibiscus in Boulevard, right there in kind of downtown Melbourne area, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's free. It's family friendly. We're going to have a great time. And now I get the privilege of introducing some new friends of the Helping Seniors organization, a group of high school students, actually, from West Shore Junior High, focused on breaking the stigma against ageism and Alzheimer's through disease education intergenerational program. I have with us here, along with Laura and John Harper, is Raaha Sellamuth with Mindcare Medics. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mr. Fink. Thank you so much for having us on this broadcast. I just want to say, like, from the first part of the show, it was very rewarding to learn about Miss McCarthy's take on addiction and the healing journey that many can take. And one thing that I just wanted to touch on is I know how she mentioned that loneliness is often one of the main causes that um, like causes like seniors to maybe become more inclined to addiction. And I wanted to say that one thing that our program, our intergenerational programs, hope to address is the same loneliness. Um, I originally discovered the issue as this was me feeling disconnected from my own grandparents who live in India. So it's both geographic and just only relying on phone calls like every week. I just felt very disconnected. I didn't really feel like I knew them very well. But one thing that kind of made me feel like I was getting closer to them and kind of made me feel closer to my Indian culture was spending time doing like more creative pursuits. Like it could be painting. Like one fond memory I have was painting pottery, and um, I just wanted to kind of share this with the community. Like I really enjoyed doing such things with my grandparents, so when I had the opportunity to volunteer at a local painting class at a memory disorder clinic, I found that this disconnect was happening in our community as well. Like many seniors were like, "Wow, I really wish we had more youth here to like volunteer." And there could be a stronger youth presence for sure. And so that's when I kind of realized this wasn't just applicable to me, it was applicable to seniors throughout the community as well, which is why I went ahead and started an intergenerational program where the teachers would be the students, um, and then the students would be the seniors. But although the program is structured like that, in reality, each class, both the seniors and the students end up teaching each other lots of things. And by the end, you can really see them connect and form meaningful relationships, which is amazing. And we can't wait to partner with Helping Seniors of Brevard to expand our technology sessions, which have been super popular lately. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for making the time. I wanted to share with you honest, we've been working together with a wonderful doctor in our community, Dr. Priyanka, which many people know as she's one of the leading folks who really spends a lot of time and has a real heart for working with seniors. And she's created her own nonprofit called Baba Senior Outreach, which we partner a lot with. In fact, she did a wonderful community event earlier this year, and we had the privilege of being out with her and many other great resources in the community at an event she did at Wickham Park. And I may be like, I don't want to try to put it too much in a box, but I kind of call it like an adopt the senior program, because what she sees as a medical doctor, primary care physician for a lot of seniors, is she sees the problems that these seniors are running into. And it's kind of like the starfish on a beach approach. You can't save everybody, but she's going to do the best she can, one person at a time, to make a difference. And they provide things like nutrition care. They will provide things like transportation. They will find people to help with home modifications. They're just really invested into each senior. And this thing that she did at Wickham Park was really an idea to see if they could expand the program, which has been currently working with 50 people, to like 200 people. So there we are. We have our resource booth, because whenever we can be out in the community, we want people to learn about helping seniors and kind of how we love to work together with great resources in our community, just like Laura McCarthy and Brevard Recovery Fest is that kind of thing. So is Dr. Priyanka, and what her mission is with that whole Baba Senior Outreach. So there we are. We're at our booth, and here comes Raha and a group of students, and you guys come up and say, and we started this conversation. And you say, "Hey, we're really all about really helping an older generation, and we love to do that as younger folks." And it sparked this wonderful conversation, because about a year and a half ago, we began a program at Helping Seniors, which we called Senior Tech Talk. And we were really fortunate that there's a lady, her name is Bree Prentice, and she's a millennial. And she actually approached us. She said, "I have a heart for seniors and want to help you guys do this. I would really love to help seniors know how to work with technology, and I'd like to help you develop a program. And I'm willing to volunteer my time to do that." So now for close to 18 months, it's every second Friday at 1 p.m. we have a free class called Senior Tech Talk, 1 p.m. And this happens at the Senior Resource Center, which is our office there at 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. We're on the second floor there. They gave us a big space there. And so we actually have this class, and we've talked about everything from maximizing how to work with your mobile devices, meaning your iPhone, or maybe you have an Android phone. We want to help you make sure that you're able to do the things that you need to do with those. And the same thing happens, if you're stuck on your computer or figuring out how to get on Wi-Fi, all the things that people just assume we all know how to do. And I love something that Bree told me about that. She said the reason this is passionate for her, she said, I am old enough that I wasn't born with an iPad in my hand. She said, I'm a millennial, so I had to learn how to do this. And I love to share how to do this with folks. And then Raaha, as we got to talk, you and some of the great folks that we've talked to, Nikita and Joseph and some of the other folks in the group, I really sense that you guys have that same passion, that you want to make technology work for the older generation.
Yes, that is something that, kind of prompted us to start going into technology. Um, it just started as simple as, my grandparents asking me for help, like, how do you turn on the volume? Like, how do I do a FaceTime call? And we realized, just talking together, we're like, okay, this is a widespread issue. Maybe holding like workshops on like specific topics each week, or like just doing a Q&A session. We noticed that it was very popular. We had lots of people coming in to ask their questions, and at the end of each session, they're like, "Wow, that was really helpful." Um, and something that I think is interesting is like the youth perspective teaching technology. I know people might think like people my age just seem to be born knowing how to use every single device, but I swear it's not true. I look up things too. Um, but I think such a cool perspective is like we kind of touched on a little earlier, like seniors are sometimes misunderstood, and then so are like teenagers as well. Like, we might be seen as a little immature at times. So I think two groups that are kind of misunderstood, like I feel like that's a common thread that, when they come together, it just that's the first common feature that kind of lets them talk and like um come together to like problem solve. Like something, with the tips of technology sessions we've seen is like I find that seniors are very, like, detail oriented, like, all their questions, they're, like, so specific and everything, but then me and, like, my fellow students, we're more, like, straightforward, we kinda just think of the problem, but, seniors are thinking ahead, so when these 2 approaches come together, we're able to kind of give them, like, a guide, like, "If you get stuck next time, here's somewhere you could start," and I thought that was something super neat as well.
It's so important what you're saying, and I wanted to bring Laura McCarthy back into this conversation for just a moment. I know she's going to have to leave the broadcast a little bit early, and we're going to keep talking about some of the great events that we've got planned coming up. But Laura, one of the things that I love about the passion and the enthusiasm that Raha and her student group has is that they really want to help seniors navigate this correctly. And all too often, Laura, if we wind up and you go to the doctor's office and say, "Oh, just download the app," right? And you say, "I don't know how to download an app." They always tell you, just go find your 9-year-old granddaughter and have her do it for you. But the problem is then we don't learn how to do it ourselves, Laura.
So true, Carrie. What a valuable service this is, and educational opportunity really for any senior interested in learning more. Raha, I love your heart. What an amazing young lady you are, and so glad our community has you. I'm thinking so many of my seniors, including myself, like one of the reasons why I'm transitioning out of this year is that you're just seeing more and more technology take over industry, right? And so, and I know I've got these younger people coming up behind me saying, you could do this and you can do that and you can do this. And I go, no, you could do that and you can do that because I'm not. But there are still like my whole world of, and I know other seniors can really identify with this. And by the way, I am a senior, so I am a Medicare baby. There you go. There is this process with every medical office where they want you to download this app or be able to get into a portal. Do you know, here's my biggest issue. And if Raha, if you could come up with a solution for this, I would love you for even more. But you have to have a password for all these portals and you have to remember your password passwords and your portals. And yes, your device might be able to hang on to that information, but at some point I might need a family member to know that information. And so how do we, and I could certainly throw that into Chat GPT if you know how to do that. How do I collect all of my passwords and have them in one place? My login information, because that's the other thing. I don't know about you, Kerry, but I've got 4 different email addresses. So then I've got to remember, which email did I use to open this portal with? And
Yes.
what
Yes.
password did I use? Oh, wait a minute. I didn't use my email to do a username. I used something. Oh my goodness. God help us all. But Raaha, that would be an amazing tool to give seniors how to organize their usernames and their passwords into some way that we can actually remember how to get back to it. Because I don't know about you, Carrie, but my memory is just not as great as it used to be. So any kind of tools or tips is always so helpful. So kudos to you, Raha, for getting this started with you young whippersnappers. We call you young people that can add value to us seniors. What a beautiful, beautiful project for you to be involved in as your, what year are you over at West Shore?
I'm a rising senior.
Oh, goodness. Well, we hope to keep you beyond your senior year because you're bringing an amazing gift to the community. So thank you again so much.
Yeah, what a godsend. Laura, I know this is your anniversary day, so we're going to let you go, but thank you. We are so looking forward to the great Brevard Recovery Fest that is coming up. We will be there and we will be looking forward. And I'm sure we're going to talk about, in fact, you've got an article coming out in the August edition, so we're like a day away from that now.
Oh, thank you. And the Senior Scene magazine, that's
Yes.
great. I think Spotlight magazine has already picked up something as well.
Good.
So thank you so much.
Good. Yeah, we're going to do all we can to make sure it's a good day because it's such a quality resource. And by the way, so thanks, Laura, for joining us today. And by the way, Raaha, you guys, as Mindset Medics, you also have an article coming out in the August edition. So again, we're just like a day. Make sure you pick up your free copy of Senior Scene magazine. They put it out at literally like 500 locations around the county. So it's usually easy to find in a doctor's office, or you can certainly come by the Helping Seniors Resource Center and find information there. We always have copies, and whenever you see us out and about, we always try to make sure we have copies of Senior Scene with us, and we tell people look for the yellow pages inside. So there's 12 yellow bordered pages each month in there, and we try our best to get good quality information. It's going to make a difference for our seniors. But I want to get back to the conversation with Raaha because I'm excited about a couple events that you guys are going to help us with. And by the way, I love Laura's suggestion. That's something we need to talk about offline because that would be a great topic. And I think it's very, very much needed, a conversation about password management. And then, by the way, every time you get one thing down, then they say, oh, now we can work with you on pass keys. And it's always 2-factor all this stuff. Like you get one thing learned and then there's more. And I guess, Raaha, you guys, you're kind of on the cutting edge. So you see what a challenge that can be for somebody that's just starting to want to become familiar with the technology.
Yes, that's why we kind of we aim to tackle kind of one thing at a time with these workshops because if you try to do too much, then you just get like information overload and then it's just not fun anymore. So we try to like work on one thing and then once you get that down, we kind of explore like maybe somewhere else you can use the same approach. Like oftentimes things with like emails and like communication, many of the features are like very similar. So if you can get down how to send a message, you can also figure out how to do an email. So when we kind of link it that way, something I find is our seniors like, okay, this isn't that bad. Like I can figure this out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking it's funny because something that I think both you and Laura have in common, you guys give people hope, because in the case of families that could be working through all the stuff that they can find themselves, fighting through addiction or trying to help somebody move beyond something that they've got. That's a whole message of hope. And for us on the technology front, here you guys are, you're helping us, like you're encouraging us that we can do this. And so one of the things I wanted to mention to you is that I want you to get a piece of paper and jot these dates down because I'm going to share a couple of dates. I want you to come out and get a chance to meet Raaha among a bunch of other great people we are doing a very special program on Friday, August the 7th. And this is actually our second annual effort at it. It's called AARP Scam Jam. And originally I called it the AI edition. I'm going to tell you why we adjusted the name to call it AARP Scam Jam, what AI is. So let me tell you what the event is first. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, August the 7th. It takes place at Zon Beachside, which is a beautiful facility there located in Indian Harbor Beach. I'm going to give you the address. It's 1894 South Patrick Drive. So the way I always tell people is you come over the O'Galley Causeway, hang a left at the first light, go up about a mile, and that's where Zon Beachside is. And they have this beautiful thing that looks a little bit like a lighthouse, but the ground floor of that lighthouse on that corner is a meeting room. And that's where we have our AARP Scam Jam. And as you know, we have done the Scam Jam program around the county in a lot of locations, and we'll bring in bankers and we'll bring in the law enforcement folks to help tell us what to look out for. We bring in a great elder law attorney by the name of Greg Schwendeman with Rhodes Law, who will share on how to stay safe from the scams that the bad guys are perpetrating out there. And these are always end up being standing room only sessions. And last year we did a special event about AI where we really want to talk about what you need to know about AI. And first I was just going to call it a regular scam jam, but we literally have the head guy, one of the head guys with a group called Senior Planet, which is a division, it's called Senior Planet from AARP OATS, older, if I get this right, Older Adults Technology Services. That's the group that is invested from AARP trying to help seniors learn how to digitally navigate is what they call it. And so Daryl Greer, who is the regional head of all of that, is going to be flying in from San Antonio to share what AI is. And when I told him, I said, I really want to keep our seniors safe. He said, that's great, Kerry, but I want to encourage you to change the title to what AI is. He said, because he said, we do want seniors to be safe about AI, but he said, we also want them to be encouraged about AI. And he said, we don't want them to think it's all bad. There's so many things good coming down the road with AI that's going to improve our health, improve our ability just to do things through AI. So he says, I don't want to scare people off. He said, we got to have kind of a good, the bad, and the ugly conversation. And that's what he's going to lead. And we're also going to have a session in there that Bree Prentice is going to share about is it AI? So this is a fun session where they'll show you a clip and you get to kind of like guess along with the rest of the audience, was that done by AI or was that like real people? And they'll start to show you what to look for so you know if you're being AI'd, if you will. And so one of the things I'd asked Raha is if her and some of her colleagues might join us, because I want you to get to know them because they're coming back to help us in our Senior Planet Tech Talk series, the thing I mentioned earlier in the program on the second Fridays. In fact, you guys are going to bring a very special edition of that on the following Friday, which would be August the 14th. So Raha, talk a little bit about what you see coming up. First of all, we're so excited we're going to introduce you guys at the Scam Jam, but also on the 14th when you come back and you actually have an opportunity to lead part of our classes.
Yeah, we're really excited to kind of get to meet everyone at the Scam Jam session. I think it's super important to talk about AI, like especially its uses in scams nowadays, like phishing attempts and everything. And they can seem really believable, but it's not real. But on the other side, I think it is really important to talk about how AI can be good because many things with navigating the internet and just the digital world in general can seem like a daunting task. And while AI might just seem to make it more complicated, it can oftentimes make it easier because it can give you like a place to start. Um, and like just some things that we plan on talking about on August 7th is kind of how you could use AI to learn something new, get technology guidance when we're not here. You could even get help with like everyday questions, look up specific answers, and so on. So, um, AI can really make your life a lot easier than just going through Google pages and scrolling a lot because it could just give you like one answer. And then we're super excited for August 14th as well, where we'll be specifically looking at some cell phone features, such as like texting, photos, apps, and then like some accessibility features you can use to, for example, make it a lot easier to navigate your phone. So we can't wait to do those workshops.
Yeah, this is such a great partnership. I'm so grateful to you guys for being willing to help us on this. And so again, a good question is, so the two dates that I really want you to get down is Friday, August the 7th, and this will be a capacity crowd. This is a big deal. We need your attention from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's a 4-hour session. It's really a 3-hour session because lunch is served. And if you've ever had lunch at Zon Beachside, it's always a great lunch. But lunch is part of it. But there's a 10 o'clock hour, an 11 o'clock hour, and a 1 o'clock hour of instruction with lunch there in the noon hour. But really want to encourage you to be there. But it is why you do have to RSVP because, first of all, we can only have a maximum of 90 people participant. And it was really pretty crowded last year. So we want to make sure that we do have a seat and we do have a lunch for you. So how do you register? That's the question. Well, the easiest way is just give us a call. It's the Helping Seniors number is the best number because maybe we talked with something earlier with Laura or with Raaha and you say, oh, I wanted to get more information about that. If you call up, you're going to talk to Nancy or one of our great volunteers, Elizabeth or Karina. We have a lot of great people who literally help us keep all this going. The phone number is 321-473-7770. I'm going to say that number again. It's 321-473-7770. And just say, please set a seat aside for me for Scam Jam. It will fill out. So I'm hoping they'll still have a seat for you if you're calling on today, because again, we're just about a week away from that. But also on the 14th, remember to put down August the 14th. That's at 1 p.m. That takes place at the Senior Resource Center. Bree Prentice, who is our regular Senior Planet Tech Talk instructor, is going to be joined by Raaha and her team. And so you're really going to get like 2 lessons in one. So that runs from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at our offices, which are 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. Again, we appreciate you calling in and letting us know you'll RSVP just so we know to be looking for you. And we also try to have some snacks. We're not Zon. We can't do everything they do, but there'll be something there for you that afternoon. But call us at 321-473-7770. Raaha, I've got just a moment left. I know they're going to look for the article in Senior Scene that you've got. Anything else that you would want to say that encourages seniors to get involved in these technology things?
Yeah, I just want to say, although it might seem like endless and like really complex, I assure you that it's not as complicated as it might seem. And as you get more accustomed to just like navigating with the device, it goes from being a chore to kind of just like an extension of yourself. Because really, when you're able to use technology, to enhance your life, it can really uh, be a really rewarding experience. So I encourage you to keep trying, don't give up, and please come to one of our workshops and hopefully we can answer some questions that you have.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this next chapter in our Helping Seniors world. So important. Thank you, Raaha and Mindcare Medics, for joining us. That is the time that we have for our Helping Seniors radio show this week. We hope you will be right back with us Wednesday, 12 noon. Just set that on your calendar. It's our lunchtime gathering, and I'm going to send it back over to John. Thanks for being with us today. Join Helping Seniors of Brevard on Wednesday, July 15th at 10 a.m. for Java with Joe, Coffee with a Cop at the Senior Resource Center, 1344 South Apollo Boulevard. Meet Joe Downs from the Brevard County Sheriff's Office for coffee, conversation, and practical tips to help seniors stay safe and informed. Enjoy complimentary coffee and Dunkin' Donuts while connecting with friends and neighbors. Special thanks to Rhodes Law, PA, whose generous support makes Java with Joe possible. Visit helpingseniorsofbrevard.org.